All right, let's get into some modern days conversation tonight. So, have you ever loved someone or been in a situation where that person just was quiet on you? Not an argument, not a clear breakup, just silence. It's like one day it's good morning, babe, and the next day it's a message left unseen at 12:42 a.m. Well, the crazy part is you still replying to their silence like, "Hey, just checking on you if you're safe," or checking if I'm single. You sitting there replaying moments, wondering what went wrong. And at some point, you realize they're not coming back. And they're not even giving you the courtesy of a closure. Well, this is Unfiltered Exposure podcast, a space where we drop all the filters. We speak about truth and we tell stories that deserve to be seen and heard. And tonight, we dive into one of the hardest, one of the most confusing breakups ever. When someone you had dream of building a life with gives you the silent treatment and leaves you without closure. Because let's be honest, silence in love is not peace. It's pain in high definition. So let's get unfiltered. The emotional violence of silence. In relationship, silence hits different. It's not just we need space, it's I've muted you like a background noise. And let's be honest real quick. Silence is a weapon because when someone cuts off communication without explanation, they're not just avoiding conflict, they're dodging accountability. And the person left behind ends up questioning everything: themselves, their worth, the sanity. And as Dr. Nipsey said in one of my previous podcasts, you left to lick your own wounds. And that's the worst part. It's an emotional limbo that eats at peace. It's like standing in a room with all the lights off, trying to find an exit that isn't there. You don't know if you should wait, move on, or fight for answers. And the person who left, they hold all the power, at least for a while. Now let's talk facts. People who disappear without closure often do it to avoid discomfort. Some may claim it is to protect their peace, but the truth is they simply don't want to face emotions, yours or theirs. Others use it to punish or manipulate, to make you question your value. But real talk, it's emotional immaturity, plain and simple. Maya Angelou said, when someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. And when somebody's way of resolving things is to shut down or disappear, you must believe that too. Because the truth is, silence is not maturity, it's emotional laziness. It's someone saying, I'd rather protect my comfort than communicate with integrity. But the irony, their silence never gets them free either. They might think they have escaped the conversation, but deep down, they know they ran from themselves. Because healthy people have hard conversations. Cowards, they just hide behind silence. The worst part about being left without closure is the self-blame. You replay moments in your head. You're scrolling through old text like it's evidence for court. It's like Exhibit A. You said you loved me right here on April 12th, exactly at 8:37 p.m. That's when silence becomes mental noise. It's like your mind can't stop creating explanations, inventing narratives, looping old scenes, and sometimes that destroys you more than the breakup ever could. Audrey Hepburn once said, people, even more than things, have to be restored, renewed, revived. But how do you renew yourself when the person who broke you went silent? And that's the work most people don't talk about. The lonely nights when you're trying to heal from something that never even had an ending. We all crave closure, like the final conversation, the last explanation that makes everything click. But sometimes closure doesn't come from another person. Sometimes closure is realizing that silence is the answer. And oftentimes people don't want to hear the truth because they don't want their illusion destroyed. Well, silence destroys illusions too. The illusion that the other person cared as much, that the bond was deep, that they showed up for you more than you showed up for them. When you can accept that silence was their truth, it's painful, but it's also your liberation. Because once you stop begging silent people to speak, you give your voice back to yourself. I read an anonymous quote recently that said, whatever you think the world is withholding from you, you're withholding it from the world. So if you think someone's silence is stealing your worth, it's because you're still waiting for them to give it back to you. So stop waiting. Closure isn't something they give, it's something you decide. It's that moment when you say, I may never understand why you did it, but I refuse to let your silence control my peace. And hear me when I say this. Every unanswered question is a brick you can build a wall with. Or you could build a foundation. That choice is yours. And healing doesn't mean that you forget it. It means you stop needing answers to move forward. And this is the hard truth. Pain can destroy you or build you. If their silence taught you that you deserve communication, clarity, and care, that's not just healing, that's transformation. And as someone once said, raise your words, not your voice. It is rain that grows flowers, not thunder. In other words, don't fight silence with noise, fight it with growth. Don't post out revenge, don't chase their attention, don't break the peace trying to disturb their peace. Instead, rebuild yourself quietly, intentionally, and proudly. Because one day, the same silence that broke you will be the silence that protects your peace. So stop letting people who left you without a word live rent-free in your head. Raise the rent and evict them emotionally. Because when love goes quiet, it teaches you exactly what love should sound like. Communication, consistency, and care. So if you're listening right now and you're stuck in that limbo, that pain of being ignored, dismissed, or abandoned, remember this. Silence doesn't mean you were not enough. It just means the other person didn't have enough courage to face you. You didn't lose closure, they lost character. You can't heal what you don't face, but you also can't chase people who refuse to be accountable. So choose peace over confusion, choose clarity over chaos, and most importantly, choose yourself. This was Unfiltered Exposure Podcast. Thank you for listening. If today's episode hits home, share it with someone who understands this type of silence. So I'm going to leave you with this. Peace isn't given, it's created. And love that leaves you wondering isn't love that's meant for you. Now, go charge your peace, not your phone waiting for a reply. See you in the next episode. Have a good night.